Welcome. Thanks for showing up for our next Q&A with Cassie. I'm ready to get started, and we received a lot of questions ahead of time. So as I did last time, we'll go through those hopefully without any technical difficulties this time. In some cases, I received, kind of groups of questions that were all on the same topic, so I tried to bundle those together. We're also going to be taking questions in real time as time allows, so please submit your questions. You can send them to our website at everett.gov. /Ask Cassie. So again, that's everett.gov /Ask Cassie. To make things easier, I think we've got the link at the bottom. I want to respond to as many questions as possible, and that means I'm not taking questions in the comment section. It's too hard to find in real time. They can get buried in other comments, but I will be reading the comments afterwards, and you can definitely use that to engage with other folks that are listening. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll get started with the first group of questions. So, we received a number of questions on COVID, and before I answer a couple of those questions that specifically, first I want to stress that it's so important that we continue to follow the health guidelines. We received some difficult news this week that our case counts have gone up pretty dramatically. We're back where we were in April, and that's really serious. So I need you all to take this seriously together with me and do what you can to reduce the spread. That means that we need to still maintain physical distancing, wear face covering when you're inside and can't maintain physical distancing. When you're in a public space, face coverings are required. So really try to follow those guidelines, and that will help reduce the spread as much as possible. So related to COVID, somebody asked, when and where do I need to wear a face cover? Great question. The governor issued that order on June 26th, and everyone should wear a face cover when they're indoors in public spaces or outdoors if you can't maintain safe physical distancing of at least 6 feet from others. So that means when you're in stores, shopping, if you go to a restaurant, please wear a face covering. There are some exemptions, some people that have a health issue or another reason that they can't wear a mask. And small children are also exempt from this order. So you can you can read the rules for this at the state's coronavirus website, coronavirus.wa.gov. Let's see. Somebody asks, I own a business. What do I do if a customer comes in and isn't wearing a mask? This question has come up in a number of times to me via email as well. So businesses do have the right to refuse someone from entering if they're not covering their face, but those businesses have to provide accommodations. So for people that have a condition or a reason that they can't wear a mask, the business will have to allow them access in some way. That might mean curbside pickup. You can definitely reach out ahead of time and maybe talk to the business to see if what they can do for you. I think that all our restaurants and businesses are working to get signage up as well to make it kind of the rules and regulations for their particular business clear. So hopefully that is helpful as well. Somebody asked, how will the city enforce this order? So this order isn't designed to penalize people. We're not going to go out and try to find people not wearing face coverings and penalize them in some way. We will educate them. This is the order is designed to keep everyone safe. So our police department will, may contact someone who's not wearing a face mask and educate them on the rule and the importance of wearing a face covering. But I also ask everyone to have a little compassion. I had a resident reach out who is unable to wear a face covering, and she expressed the concerns that people had been very aggressive towards her and kind of assuming that she didn't care about public health, and that's simply not the case. So we don't know the reason that someone might be unable to wear a mask, so please just use your personal responsibility, do what you can do for your safety and the safety of others, and wear a face covering when you can, and try not to judge those because we don't know why they're not able to wear a face covering. So, next topic. Somebody asks, I heard the cultural arts program has been cut. Is that true? And if so, why? So first of all, no, the cultural arts program has not been cut. but we've had to make really deep, painful cuts across many city departments, including cultural arts. Cultural arts was hit especially hard this year because of the pandemic, and there's a number of events and activities that we usually are able to host that we're unable to host this year. Events like our 4th of July parade and festival and fireworks show, Jetty Island Days, music at the marina, and street tunes. Some of those were reduced because of the financial impact of this pandemic, but some of them were reduced because of the pandemic. The street tunes, for example, wouldn't be a safe activity this summer because sanitizing those pianos would be really difficult between each time somebody would play. And a lot of the other things, 4th of July festivals, there's just no way to maintain safe distancing. So it's really sad to see those events cut and a lot of activities not happening. We also had to reduce staff in Cultural Arts Department as well as many other departments across the city. But we remain committed to the arts. Arts is so much of who we are as a city. It's one of the things that I fell in love with about Everett. And I know all of our residents share that passion. We've got such a creative spirit, especially in our downtown core. And so the city is working actually this year to certify ourselves as a creative district. That work will continue. And we have a number of tourism activities that we look forward to bringing back once we're through this pandemic. We have other things going on that will continue to go on this summer. We've got new murals coming up and sculptures. So really look forward to continuing to grow and expand our arts programs once we're through this. So on the good news front around arts, I want to share a little bit more detail about some of the new murals and things that are coming up. On the south wall of the Shack, there's going to be a new mural. It features the work of two artists, Apex and Neon. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's really bright and beautiful and just is giving us a lot of ray of hope and sunshine in kind of a difficult time. Next week, there's going to be a new mural that's going to start to go up at California and Colby. The artist is Don Clark. He's from a local design firm called Invisible Creature. I've seen the design. It's going to be really awesome. It highlights a lot of the cool things that make Everett Everett. And I want to give a special thank you to Scott Dahl Real Estate, who's helping fund this together with an LTAC grant, our lodging tax grant, and that together is making this affordable for our city. And then there's going to be another mural later this summer on the east side of the Shack. So the Shack has a really cool exhibit this year all around graffiti art, and so I encourage you to check that out. But the east side mural is going to be by Camino artist Blake Taylor. So the Shack's going to be commissioning banners throughout the city, all funded by the Community Foundation, Snohomish County Art Fund. So a lot of really great things happening in our art community this summer, thanks to the Shack and other fabulous partners. So somebody writes, I missed the farmers market at the waterfront. Why did it move, and will it ever move back to the waterfront? I loved the farmers market down there as well. I love Boxcar Park. It's such a beautiful place in our city and just a lovely area. The farmers market really outgrew that space. It was becoming a really challenging to find parking. I know it was a struggle for the port and managing that many cars, and they've been such a great partner for the city. So last summer we were really grateful and proud to bring it downtown, and that turned out really well. I think downtown has a lot of benefits over the waterfront for the farmers market, like accessibility. So a lot of our folks that may be in a wheelchair or have strollers, things like that, the farmers market downtown is much more accessible, and the parking is easier. So we look forward to keeping the farmers market downtown, expanding it. It has room to grow downtown, so that's good. I know that this year, because of COVID, the farmers market's a little different than it usually is. And so we kind of miss the way it used to be and look forward to the days when it's a much more open environment that we can linger and stroll and enjoy. So the next question I received is, when will Grand Avenue Park Bridge open, and what about Rucker? Grand Avenue Park Bridge is nearly complete. We expect to open it later this summer. And Rucker is expected to be done in mid-July. We're doing the finishing touches on landscaping now. I know that project has taken so long and it's been really hard. We were glad to be able to continue the work on that project during the government shutdown or the pandemic business shutdown. So really grateful that that work has continued. But it should be opening very soon. And that's going to be awesome because when that opens, we're going to be able to kick off our Healthy Streets program, which will encourage kind of walking, biking, active mobility. That will be kind of hopefully activate and bring more vibrancy to some of our streets and people can enjoy. So we're going to make a few of our streets local access only. Wanted to wait for Rucker project to be done before taking that step, but look forward to more information on that very soon. And I want to encourage all of you, if you have questions, please be sure to submit them online. I can't remember the website, so thank you. The URL is everett.gov, ask Cassie. So everettwa.gov, ask Cassie. So please, if you have a question right now, don't forget to submit it. Thanks for the reminder, Peepa. Okay, let's see. So I've continued to receive a lot of questions about budget cuts. I know we spent some time talking about that in the last Q&A, so I encourage you to watch that last Q&A or check out our website for kind of the frequently asked questions that we posted on budget cuts. The city of Everett has been facing a financial challenge for many years, long before I became mayor, and I know as a council they've been working to tackle this for some time. When I took office, we had to make pretty aggressive cuts across all city departments. Made about $7.6 million in long-term cuts, but we still have this structural deficit. And this isn't unique to Everett. Cities across the state struggle with this. Then COVID-19 hit, and that just exacerbated an already really challenging situation. And so with COVID-19, we estimated an additional $14 million in losses just this year alone. We're already anticipating that number to be higher. So we did have to make some very difficult cuts. I know our city is grieving some of those, from our swim center, our senior center, our events that I already talked about earlier. These were the hardest cuts the most difficult decisions I've had to make as mayor, and I know our council really grieved these reductions as well. I think as we are moving into the 2021 budget, we're going to be having a really difficult conversation as a community as to what we can afford to provide. The losses of revenue due to businesses being closed is significant, and that layered on top of a deficit, there's no easy way out of this. So we're going to have to work together to hear from you what your priorities are, where if we want to. I was just talking to somebody earlier today about our swim center and how much they miss going there every day. So in order to bring a program like that back, we're going to have to find another reduction to make that will be another valuable program or service. And so this is going to be a tough time, but I encourage you to get involved and share your opinions, share what you think we should prioritize. We have information on our website on our budget planning calendar for 2021, where you can find the dates that council will be discussing our 2021 budget. You can email my office or our city council offices anytime, and please voice your opinions. Really want this to be open, transparent process, but I think we're gonna see a really tight couple of years here with our budget as we recover from the pandemic, and hopefully we find long-term solution to our structural deficit, so that moving forward in 2022 and beyond, we can start to build back up a city that has the robust services we want as a community. So I've also continued to receive a lot of questions on police reform, whether defunding the police is something we're looking at, other policing use of force questions. One person asked if I'm proud of the police, does that mean I think we don't need to change? And no, we have to continue to work on improving every aspect of what we do in policing and to best protect and serve this community. Our police department is amazing. They are not perfect. I'm grateful that our chief is committed to innovation, progressive policing, and continuous improvement. And I think that shows in a lot of the programs and work that he has led and brought on to serve our community and to really be a community-minded department and to listen to our community. We always have more work to do, and we are, for example, we're piloting body cameras, but we only have 10 cameras. We need cameras across the department. I think that is a necessary step in the right direction. There are programs that I think are vital, and I'd love those programs to continue. And there are programs that we need to improve, and I think we have pretty exceptional training comparative to other departments, but just because comparatively we're doing better doesn't mean we're doing all we can. So we're going to continue to look at all the ways that we can improve and reform policing in Everett to ensure that every resident feels safe and is receiving the security and protection they need to feel comfortable, and that and that we're able to provide well to the community. So I think that also want to let folks know, just last night we had a public safety committee meeting where Chief Templeman went over a lot of information on training and our use of force policies. I would encourage you to watch that online if you didn't see it. I think there's a lot of good information in it. And then there was also editorial in the Herald that also had a lot of good information about policing. But please know that I will continue to focus on improvement and working together with our city council and our police chief to reform and innovate our department. So one person asks about the encampment downtown. What's going on with the encampment in the middle of downtown? This popped up a couple of weeks ago on county campus. It was first in front of the Carnegie building on the grass, and then the county ended up moving individuals to a parking lot on the county property. This is county property, so it is up to the county to decide what to do there. We expressed our concerns. We do not believe that this is a place suitable for people to live. And so we've been working together with the county, sharing our concerns with having this encampment in our downtown, that this isn't a safe place for our businesses, the individuals that need to come downtown, nor is it safe for the individuals that are living there in that encampment. And I had a meeting just a couple days ago with Executive Summers, and I believe they are going to remove that encampment later this week, and connecting people to services. Obviously, those individuals are experiencing homelessness, and so the county Office of Neighborhoods and our COET team, our outreach and enforcement team, are going to work to support, but to try to connect those individuals with housing vouchers, treatment and services, whatever they might need, to hopefully get them on a path towards stability. So hopefully we'll see that, but removed. But I want folks to understand that the pandemic has also exacerbated a problem that existed beforehand. We had a challenge of homelessness in our cities and urban centers, and honestly throughout the county. We've had it for some time, and then when COVID-19 hit, a lot of the shelters had to reduce capacity in order to maintain physical distancing for the residents and ensure that we didn't have outbreaks in those facilities. And so that has made more people homeless and more people are on the streets. And so this is a challenge, and I'm grateful that the county is a strong partner to try to connect these folks with the services they need, and we'll continue to work with them to expand our shelter capacity across the community. So somebody asks, what's up with the Wood Creek parcel of land, and why does the city want to sell it? So Wood Creek parcel, we presented to council earlier, a few weeks ago, a number of parcels of land in the city that are deemed surplus. That means the city isn't using them anymore. There's not a purpose for us to keep those properties. And the Wood Creek property is a utility property that utility hasn't been using for some time. And when a property isn't being used, we're obligated as a city to reassess that and reassess whether we need to retain that asset, especially when we're facing financial challenges. And I had the opportunity to go visit Wood Creek. I think it was just Monday or Tuesday this week, probably Monday, and the residents met me there and gave me a tour. I'm really grateful to everybody who came out to show me the property. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous parcel of land, so recognize how passionate our neighborhood is there to protect it. So we're going to be looking at a number of conservation opportunities. I know our council members are working with our city team to look for ways that we can continue to protect the important environmental features of that property, but also make sure that we are protecting our ratepayers who are right now paying for that property as it's part of the utility properties. So want to make sure to keep our city utility whole as well and find that balance. So we'll be looking at that in the coming weeks, and before we have a plan, we'll be notifying residents of when it's going to come back to council so that everybody has the opportunity to weigh in and discuss that, anyone who's reached out. So if you're interested in the Wood Creek property, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be sure to keep you in the loop. But also just want to remind our residents that whether it's this property or other properties in our city, we do have a housing shortage, and we're going to need to, as a community, find solutions. And so I know simultaneously we have other work going on, a housing strategy, and a lot of things have been put on hold because of the unique situation we're in 2020. But those projects are really important, and as they move forward, I encourage all of you to weigh in to help us find best ways to provide housing as we grow as a city. Somebody asks how my family is dealing with the coronavirus and what kinds of things Panda has been doing. Thank you for the question. Panda has been a little lonely. She's an only child, so it's been especially hard on her, although her dad's home. And so that's helpful. We have a trampoline in the backyard, which is incredibly helpful. So when she gets stir crazy, she just goes out there and bounces like 300 times in a row, which is a lot of fun for her. A little noisy maybe, but very fun. And I actually broke down and got her a new kitten. She was very lonely, and so I'd been begging and begging and begging for a new family member to take care of. So we went and adopted a new kitten who is living in her room, and his name is Coyote, and she has a new snuggle buddy, which has been wonderful. And my husband has taken up sourdough baking like hundreds of others throughout our community, so we're eating a lot of bread. So I think that summarizes the questions I've received. I don't know if we got any extra questions since I've been here. I'm getting a shake of the head, so I hope I covered everything that folks asked ahead of time. If I missed something that you sent in, I am so sorry, and I will do my best to answer your question either in an email form or at the next Q&A. Before I wrap up, I just want to say, we're in a, as you all know, we're in a really difficult time, and we have a global health crisis. We have a nationwide, really global financial crisis as well. And then we have the civil unrest and outrage due to 400 years of oppression and racism in our country, and the inequities that so many of our communities of color, Black and Indigenous and communities of color, are experiencing. And that can be overwhelming. And I know that I've come to work often in the last few days, few weeks, just feeling down and struggling with the depth of what we're all trying to solve and deal with. And I think when you're experiencing things like this, it can tear you apart as a community. And one of the things I'm really grateful for and love about our city is it's not tearing us apart. It's bringing people together in the most beautiful ways, whether it's the neighbors at the Wood Creek property that are rallying around each other and that beautiful piece of land and doing what they can to protect and work together with city government to solve that challenge. Whether it's the organizations, the Providence Institute for Health and Volunteers of America and other organizations that are stepping up to deliver face coverings, our local volunteers with our city and our neighborhoods to help families and individuals in the city that may not have access to face covering or other needed services, or whether it's what I see kids doing all over the sidewalks whenever I walk in the neighborhood and just putting messages of joy and hope in front of their homes and other neighbors. And so this is really what brings out the best in our city. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and please hold on to that even in these dark times, because it really does take all of us supporting each other to get through it, and we will get through this. So thank you for tuning in, and thanks for your time today, and I look forward to the next Q&A. Thanks.